So good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to our virtual open house for the final stage of education at St. Peter's School. As I was saying, this is called PreU, and it includes year 10 and the diploma program. So during this open house, we'll try to help you understand our diploma program and what exactly sets St. Peter's apart from other international schools in Barcelona. After my brief introduction, the head of PreU, Xavier Salvador, will explain with further details all about the pre-university years at St. Peter's School. Remember that PreU includes year 10 from middle years and the 2 years of the diploma program. If you have any questions during the conference, please remember that you can post your queries through the Zoom chat. There is an icon for this at the bottom of the screen, and we'll try to answer all of your questions at the end. Let me introduce briefly a few points that will help you understand what makes St. Peter's unique. Just as a reminder, we follow the IB methodology from Foundation 3 to Year 12. IB, as you may know, means International Baccalaureate, and it's an inquiry and concept-based methodology. Year 10 is the last grade of middle years, but for us, it's also a transition year that helps prepare our students for the diploma. This is why we consider it part of the PreU stage. In Spain, this grade is also equivalent to fourth of ESO, and at the end of it, the students also get the certificate of the Spanish and Catalan government for secondary education. I think it's important to underline that we don't follow a British curriculum, nor an American curriculum. It's also worth remembering that the diploma is not a Spanish baccalaureate. However, when the students get the diploma, their grade is immediately converted to the Spanish equivalent. And this means that they can easily apply to Spanish university. For those students who want to study abroad, the IB diploma is an excellent path to apply to international universities. And lastly, I would like to highlight that our main language of instruction is English, not to mention, we believe that being plurilingual is a great benefit for our students. And this would be, I think, a starting point for you to consider St. Peter's School as a good fit for your children. Let me now introduce you to Mr. Salvador, and please remember that if you have any questions, you can post them in the Zoom chat, and we will answer them at the end.
Okay, thank you very much, Carmen. Hi, everyone. Good afternoon. I'm really excited to welcome you all to our last open house here at St. Peter's. We've been kind of showcasing our school for the past 3 weeks, I think. So this is the last one. We just had the middle years program open house. So we're at the exit point of the school, if you want to call it that way. So very quickly, I think you can see here, I always wanted to do this now that I have this technology. So basically, I think the first thing we have to do is we need to understand where we are. I think Carmen mentioned it very well. She talked about the Continuum here at St. Peter's, the IB Continuum. Right now, maybe you can see it better like this. Right now we are at the exit point, which is the diploma program years, and we also have a little bit of the middle years program. So we have the last 3 years of high school, year 10, year 11, and year 12. And as you can see, all across the school, we apply the same methodology, which is the IB, International Baccalaureate methodology, which actually is very similar to the, the philosophy and the ethos that we've always had here at St. Peter's. So now that we know where we are, I think the next step is to kind of explain who we are, okay? And you're gonna see a lot of questions, I think, like my students, I always tell my students that I'm not gonna give them any answers, but I'm going to give them more questions. So I'm just using the same strategy. I'm just giving you lots of questions here. Just to describe who we are, again, kind of embedded in the IB methodology, but also in, as a school, what we believe in. We kind of focus on three main areas. We call them our three pillars, which are factfulness, exponentials, and change makers. And I was trying to kind of figure out how to explain this to all of you, and I just came up with these questions that summarize kind of like what we do when we want to tackle one of these issues in class. So factfulness, the first question that comes up is this true? I mean, what can I say nowadays? It's, if anything, it's very important that students at least understand that they need to be critical, and they need to see what's true and what's not true. And sometimes that's nearly impossible, but at least they have to question things. So this is why right from year 10 up, and of course the diploma, we have subjects like philosophia, we've got critical thinking all across the curriculum. We've got theory of knowledge, which is a part of the core curriculum in the diploma program. So we help students kind of navigate the world of, well, I guess, fake news, right? That's what everyone talks about right now. Then the second pillar, or the second point of reference that we always use and we incorporate in our classrooms, is exponentials. And yes, it's always our students, and sometimes even ourselves, will say, is this possible? I'm just thinking, 3 weeks ago, we had a webinar from former students talking about 3D printing for human tissues, right? So things are changing so quickly, exponentially. That's, kind of like, that's the appropriate term, that sometimes it's kind of, it feels like, is it really happening? Can this actually happen? So we're trying to help our students understand and work at the pace that society requires right now, because you really need to catch up, because otherwise, if you miss something, you're like, and immediately you're left behind. And then the third kind of point, it's the concept of change makers. And here, I guess, since I am the environmental systems and societies teacher, I have a place in, a special place in my heart, so to speak, for that one, because we, especially nowadays, some things we know for a fact that we're not doing them the right way. And, not to get into a lot of, very political, but for example, climate change, we know that something needs to change and something needs to happen, because what we're doing right now is not actually working. So that's why we at St. Peter's, from, foundation years all the way up to the diploma, we just make sure that our kids get the tools so they can actually first see if something is actually working, and then if it's not working, how do we change it, or what can we do in order to improve that. So that's why, the question would be, is this okay? And by okay, could be, is this ethical? Is this the right thing to do? Is this legal? Is this, an ethic? So you name it, okay? So this would be in a very simple way, kind of our philosophy. So you have an idea of what to expect if one of your children decides to, to step into the PreU world here at St. Peter's. Also, let me go to the next slide. Of course, I couldn't resist, but I just had to, I was looking through all the photographs that we have from previous years. And this is just an example of things that we do as a school. We do, of course, have, our regular lessons, but, we're a bit, I don't know if I could say the word obsessed, but we really, really like the concept of learning outside the classroom, not just outside the box, but literally outside the classroom. So, we take any opportunity that we have just to take our students outside, and that could be either outside to, to the park next door, or to New York, or to Washington, D.C. So here you have a few examples of what we've been doing every year by this time, actually, but this year is going to be, we're going to participate online. We go to the high school model United Nations in New York. So we take the year 10 students to New York. This year is going to be online. Then also, again, this year we haven't been able to do it, but we have an exchange program with a school in Ohio in the United States. So it's a 2 weeks program. It's only a few students. And what we do, we take them 1 week to Washington, D.C., just because it's kind of connected to the global politics curriculum. So DC for a week, and then they go and stay with a family in Columbus, in Ohio. We have a partnership with a high school there. So they experience kind of the American life. Especially this is really, really interesting and appealing to those students who are thinking about studying abroad. So that's kind of a way to, they can get a taste of what the American life looks like. And also we meet with university counselors. We visit different state universities there. Again, we put it on hold because of the pandemic, but hopefully if everything goes well, we'll get back in shape in October. And also you can see here the MEP Catalunya, so the model of a European Parliament. So we do participate in the local, the regional, the national, and a couple of years ago we actually made it to the European session. So we're really involved in all these, especially social sciences, politics events. And then here there's a photo of a partnership that we also have with Universidad de Barcelona. We have a video game creation project. So for a week, also year 10 students, they are actually required to design a video game, and they have to work on the design in all different aspects, not just programming, but also the artistic component, which is designing the actual visuals of the video game, and also more I guess also arts, or the writing skills, because they have to come up with the plot and the story. So it's a full week of just going to the university and working with a team that helps them develop that video game. And of course, the last photo at the bottom to the left, graduation ceremony. Again, last year we missed it. We couldn't have our ceremony, but we're trying to figure out how we're going to do it this year. But I'm sure we'll find a way to do it, even if it's just online. Also, again, Carmen already mentioned this, but just to make sure and to clarify, because all these acronyms and terminology. So this would be PreU, pre-university, and there's 3 years, year 10, which we call them the prep for the diploma. So we actually replicate the curriculum that we have for our diploma program. So in year 10, students get business management, students get computer science, biology, chemistry. So they get, again, a taste of what to expect in the diploma program. And actually, the last month, so in May, we finish what would be year 10, we finish a month earlier. So evaluations and assessments finish in May, and then for a month, they literally we start the diploma program. So diploma program teachers, they just step in and they start teaching the diploma. So the students literally get an idea of, especially the teachers, and they look at the syllabus. So they have the entire summer just to make up their minds, because of course, some students are still, uncertain in terms of what itinerary to take, okay? And sometimes summertime is the time where they see the light and all of a sudden they know that they want to become a doctor, okay? So, and as Carmen also said, in year 10, you've got, the last bit of the ESO. So when they finish year 10, they get the ESO certificate, which is the Spanish, the Ministerio de Educación, they get their Spanish certificate of high school diploma. And then they jumped into what would be the diploma program, okay? I don't want to get too detailed, but just in case, I'm not sure how familiar you are with the diploma program model, would be what we have here. So year 10 would be the prep for this. But the diploma program, you know, in a very simple way, it's, let me maybe put it like this so you can say it. The diploma program model, it's a 2 years curriculum. Students choose 6 subjects, and then on top of that, they have a component that is called the core, that includes 3 components, which are CAS, extended essay, and theory of knowledge. Lots of acronyms, so I apologize for that, but basically what it means is that every single student in the diploma program is going to have 6 different subjects, but at the same time, they're going to have to take theory of knowledge, which again, we were talking about factfulness or critical thinking. This is just the perfect place to kind of, you know, unleash that, you know, kind of critical thinking potential. Actually, Shata Carmes Corsias, she's one of the theory of knowledge teachers. So I'm sure that, you know, we've talked a lot about how to explain theory of knowledge. And I'm always, you know, I always tell people that theory of knowledge creates, you know, it's kind of like, it's very, you know, it creates some kind of chaos into the kids' minds, which is actually what we want. We want kids to get confused. The active confusion that I always tell my students, it's good when they become confused and they don't know exactly, you know, what's the right way to go, because that means that they need to explore, and that's what we want. Then they also have the extended essay, which is an academic investigation. It's a 1-year investigation, and they produce at the end of the year a report, an academic report that has to do with you know, a research questions that they came up with in their first year. And then CAS is the component that the IB includes to make sure that students are not just learning something in the classroom, that they're also connected with the community, and they have to, for 2 years, the 2 years that they're in the diploma program, they have to volunteer, they have to come up with some creative activities, could be dancing, could be music, could be painting, but they have to do something creative. And also they have to literally move, okay? They have to do some activity, and it's sports, hiking, you know, mountain biking, you name it, okay? So that would be kind of the idea, the technical details on the diploma program. And I thought it would be, I don't want to overwhelm you with a lot of information, but here you can take a look at actually what we offer in the diploma program. As I said, you have, the students can have to choose 6 subjects, and they have to choose one of each of you know, in these groups. There's 2 languages, so every student, regardless whether you're going to medical school or whether you want to be a lawyer or an anthropologist, doesn't matter. They're all gonna have 2 languages. So they're gonna, here in St. Peter's, we offer English and Spanish. Then they're gonna have to choose at least one individuals and society subject. We offer global politics, business management, and economics. Very, very popular, the 3 of them. And actually, you'll see in a minute, Christopher Pache, which is the global politics teacher. So he'll tell you more about us. And then in science, we have a wide variety of options. You've got biology, chemistry, physics, computer science, and the best one, of course, my subject, environmental systems and societies. So plenty to choose from. Whether you want to do, you know, you want to be an engineer, then probably you'll go with chemistry. If you want to be a, you know, computer science or technology major, then you go with computer science. And even if you want to be, for example, a lawyer, most of our students that go to business school or law school, they choose environmental systems and societies, because it's a subject that, you know, kind of affects every aspect of our daily lives. So it's always useful. Then, of course, everyone has to choose a maths option. And then for those who have a creative side, they actually have the opportunity to go and choose visual arts. So again, there's much more to discuss in terms of the diploma program. I don't want to go into details regarding the assessment process, or you know, more you know, bits and pieces of how they get their grades, because I'm not sure how familiar you are, but I'll be happy to answer any questions at the end, or, you know, you can send me an email at any time and I'll be happy to answer that. So I've been talking for a long time now, so I think it's time for me to just be quiet, and I'm really happy to introduce you to Mr. Christopher Pache. I hope, you know, it took me a while, but I think now I pronounce it correctly. He's our, here in the diploma program, he's our global politics teacher. So he'll tell you more about not just the subject, but how things work in the diploma program and what's like the way we teach, okay? So, Mr. Pache, please.
Yeah, thank you very much. Good afternoon, everybody. My colleague, Mr. Salvador, just mentioned that his subject is obviously the best. I think we can agree to disagree. I will prove that global politics is actually the best subject. I would talk about my subject, global politics, somewhat like a Parsko Toto. So as an example of the whole image of the whole idea of St. Peter's and its educational program. And to start with, I would like you to invite you to a thought experiment by John Rawls from 1971. He calls it the Wheel of Ignorance. You have to imagine yourself in somewhat an unconscious state, and you're floating around the earth. You know how the earth, how the states are structured. You know about human nature, you know about mankind, about nationalities, etc. But you have actually no idea about yourself. You're about to be born, but you have no idea where you're born. You may be born in Canada, in Spain, in South Sudan, in Djibouti, in Saudi Arabia, and you have no idea about your gender, no idea about your race, about your skin color, no idea about your personal preferences, no idea about your character. And now John Rawls asks us, do you like to play this game, this kind of lottery? And I can only believe that the answer will be very likely a no. The question is why? The quick question is not only the why, but what needs to change for you to think, hey, I don't really care. I can be born in Canada, I can be born in Kazakhstan, in Mongolia, in China. It doesn't matter, it makes no change, there's no difference. But what needs to change? The students would likely answer and come up with the ideas of, we need basic human rights. We need equality. We need a decent economic situation. We need quality education. All these aspects which makes the world a better place, which makes the world fair. What John Rawls tries to tell us is this thought experiment helps us to think about our ideas of justice, of morality, of equality, and of social status. And that's actually what we want to achieve with the students. We want our students to be principled. We want them to be reflective, to be open-minded and caring. These students are our future, and we want them to be a part of the whole who make the world a better place. But in order to make the world a better place, first of all, they need to understand the world. This leads us to one of the main pillars of St. Peter's, the factfulness. Factfulness in order to know and understand the real world based on facts. And global politics is, in my opinion, a wonderful example how we can achieve that. In global politics, we discuss issues and conflicts in a globalized and interconnected world. We discuss them on a local level, regional, national, international, and global level. And global politics is also a good example for our idea of transdisciplinary learning. Global politics includes not only politics. We look at lenses like geography, economy, philosophy, etc., etc. And here it becomes very handy that St. Peter's has a rather independent curriculum with international mindset. I believe that one of the greatest characteristics of St. Peter's is actually its internationality. For example, in my current global politics course, I have students from Spain, from White Russia, from Egypt, from Nigeria. And this allows us to discuss local issues based on A, their background knowledge, and on their B, on their intrinsic motivation. We can discuss, for example, the role of Boko Haram in Nigeria, or we can talk about and discuss the outcome of the Arab Spring in Egypt. If we want to achieve peace, sustainability, and development, that can only be achieved by cooperation. We need global-minded students. We need to see differences not as barriers, but rather as different nuances of a complex and multicultural society. And in my opinion, St. Peter's international character is a wonderful framework to achieve that. Thank you very much for listening.
Oh, thank you, Mr. Pache. Well, that's impressive. I think we're gonna open this course for parents. So if any parent is interested in the course, because that's really exciting. So yeah, this is IB, this is Diploma Program, and in this case, this is Global Politics. So thank you, Christopher. And then I have our final guest, very special guest now. Let me see if I can do this. There you go. Yes, that's her. That's Claudia Therman. So we thought that the best way to close this open house is to have someone who's pretty much part of the family. She was at St. Peter's forever, and she just graduated last year, and now she's an amazing student at ESADE. We were chatting yesterday, and she said that she's been working hard for the finals, and now she's ready for the next step in the second term. So I'm just, I asked her if she could talk about her experience at St. Peter's. I think that's the best way for all of you to kind of get a sense of what students get out of the St. Peter's experience. So Claudia, are you there? Hello?
Yeah, I'm here.
Yes?
I'm here.
Okay, well, thank you. The floor is yours.
Thank you. Well, hello, everyone. I'm Claudia, and as Mr. Salvador said, I graduated last year from the IB Diploma Program. It was a different year because I didn't actually get to do my exams in the end. They got canceled because of COVID. But in the end, I, of course, had the full IB experience regardless. I was the first promotion of St. Peter's to actually graduate from IB. So I got the first experience from all the teachers, and I can just tell all of you that it was an amazing experience. All the teachers are always there to help you. And in general, now that I'm at university, I'm currently studying law with global governance at ESADE. And I feel extremely prepared, especially in terms of mathematics and all the readings that we have to do. So that's why I really, really encourage the IB for future generations and future students. Also, if your child wants to go and study abroad, I think the IB and the school in general also prepares you really, really well. I actually applied to the United States, to the UK, and of course here, and I found the process extremely easygoing, and they're always there to help you. So yeah, that was pretty much my experience with everything.
Cool. Thank you, Claudia. And actually, it was really, I have to say that yesterday we had a chat, Claudia and I, we just met to kind of discuss the lineup for today. And the first thing I thought I was gonna, discuss with her presentation, but of course the first thing I asked was like, okay, so how are you? And she just told me about, how she was doing. And I'm like, okay, we don't need to discuss anything. Just tomorrow, just tell us, exactly what you just told me today when I asked you, how are you doing? So thank you, Claudia. She mentioned university. I think it's very important, guess as, as a final closing words, because I think they said it all. But basically, if anybody kind of has questions in terms of access to universities, just very quickly, just to say that the IB, the Diploma Program, is recognized here in Spain. So it's automatic that you get the Spanish convalidation. So once you graduate and you get your diploma program, you also get the Bachillerato Español. So if you want to get into a Spanish university, no problems. And actually, as Claudia was mentioning, if you apply and you want to study abroad, the UK and the United States actually, you know, the diploma program is pretty popular, especially in the United States. Most of the universities actually, they give you actual credits. So from undergraduate courses, if you already took some certain classes, especially if they're in the high level. So biology high level and physics high level usually give you actually undergraduate credits in certain universities. So I think, Carmen, just back to you if you want to have.
Okay. Thank you very much, Mr. Salvador, Mr. Paje, and Claudia especially. It's good to see you. I mean, I haven't seen you since you finished, right? So it's a pleasure to see you, although it's on the screen, right? Okay, I'm also very happy to see among the attendees some of our families that have been with us quite a long time already, and also some prospective families. So for those who are trying to apply for the admissions process, let me explain you briefly how to proceed, right? Our objective in the admissions department is to help you weigh up all the different options so that your decision can be taken with all the necessary information and advice that you require. Briefly, the next step after this open house would be to schedule an interview with your child and our teachers for them to get to know each other. And this, of course, will be a great opportunity for you to come and visit our facilities in person, following, of course, our COVID-19 protocol. Mr. Salvador will show the emails at the end, but I think every one of you have my email. And after the interview, if you decide that simply this is a good fit for your child, I will be happy to explain how to complete the admission process. Just as a reminder too, in September, students will start the first week of the month. And the very first day normally is just for new children, or new students in that case, because they are quite big, right? On that day, they will have the opportunity again to meet with their teacher in order to facilitate their transition, okay? And then during the first month, our admissions department will work very closely with Mr. Salvador and the rest of the teachers to make sure that the students and their families feel welcome and everything is in place. If you have any questions during this period or anytime later, please do not hesitate to contact us. And I don't know if we have many questions in the chat. Do you remember that I told you at the beginning that if you have any questions, we will be happy to answer them here?
I think there's a question, or
Oh, it's me, it's me. Okay. Do the students have SAT exam in year 10 or year 11 recorded in some universities that at the admission process, for example, in the USA? Claudia.
I can answer the question because I actually applied to the US. There's some universities that with the IB Diploma Program already tell you that you don't have to take SATs. So for example, the two universities that I applied to, which were NYU and U Chicago, they don't actually demand you to take SATs, but you do have the opportunity to take them. There is a school nearby where you can take your child there and they can prepare for the SAT. But the majority of schools nowadays don't actually require SATs to be taken with the IB.
Oh, thanks, Claudia.
Well, for that, we don't have any questions in the chat, but for example, I think one prospective family was asking me if it was possible to start the diploma without any Spanish, for example.
Let me see. Yes, actually, start the diploma without any Spanish. Yes, that's a possibility. And let me say again, because when I was talking about the different options that we have, so when I said here that we offer English A's, and so English and Spanish as first and second language, if you see in the group 2, which is the language B, would be the second language, There's an option which is called Spanish ab initio. That would be Spanish for students who have no prior knowledge of the language. So that would be, again, someone who doesn't speak any Spanish or has never been, in contact with any Spanish. It's still a possibility. And of course, then everything else in the other groups, all subjects are actually taught in English, okay, except for Filosofía, okay? Filosofía is not here in the chart. Filosofía, we offer it in Spanish. That would be the only subject that if a student does not speak any English, that's the only choice that would not be available. Most of our students, I mean, especially those who come directly from us, they've been here for a long time, they're actually bilingual basically, and they get the bilingual diploma. Because Claudia, you got the bilingual diploma, right?
Yes, I did all of my subjects in English, and I still, except for Spanish A, and I still got my bilingual diploma.
Yes.
Yeah.
As long as you get a subject from, groups 3, 4, 5, or 6 in a different language other than the one in group 1, then you get your bilingual diploma, which again, we take it for granted, but that especially in the United States, they value it a lot. When they look at your portfolio and in the admissions office, they value the fact that you have a bilingual diploma. So.
Another question, Xavi, sorry, that some parents have asked me frequently is that, for example, when a student wants to study for engineering or medicine, do they have to choose science? Because if they have to choose one of each group, then how do you do that?
Yeah, okay. Let me show you this, because I didn't want to get into too much detail, but yes. So as I said, they have to choose six subjects, but as you see, one of them is arts. But if, for example, someone wants to go to medical school, then what they could do, the IB allows them to just drop the arts. So they're left with 5 subjects, and then they can double one science. So in this case, I would do biology and chemistry, right? Or a lot of students that they do, and I think, Claudia, you did that, right? You took 2 individuals and society subjects?
Yes, I took business management and economics.
Okay, exactly. So you can always double in one group as long as you are not doing visual arts. So yes, I mean, that's the idea. The idea is that all students, regardless of where they're gonna end up going, they all get languages, they all get individuals and societies, they all get science, they all get maths. But then those who have already, a clear idea of where they wanna go, then they can actually tailor a bit more specifically, that curriculum to their careers. Because usually what happens, based on experience, what we've seen is that in year 11, a lot of students, they're still like, oh, I'm not sure. They kind of know what they don't want to do, but they still have some doors open. So they want to keep certain doors open. So they don't want to focus only on biology and chemistry. They just want to do a little bit of everything. So eventually, usually between year 1 and year 2, most of them, they see the light and they're like, okay, this is what I want to do. So then they're still fine because they've been, they're still getting their diploma and they're getting a little bit of everything so they don't fall behind.
Just a quick question, Xavi. Just a quick question. Do the students have to do the selectividad?
No, but they can do something else. And let's see if I can explain that easily. So when you get your diploma program, so your diploma certificate, that basically convalidates Bachillerato Nacional and the selectividad, but what they call the parte común, right? The general part of the selectividad. Then, as any other student, even students in the Bachillerato Nacional, if they wanted to get a better grade, they have to take extra exams, okay? So if you do Bachillerato Nacional, you have to do what they call específicas, right? Exámenes específicos. The IB since you already done the general part of the selectividad, if you want to improve your grade, then you have to do what they call pruebas de competencia específica. So basically, you don't have to do selectividad unless you want to get a higher grade because you want to get into a very competitive public university. So, and then we get into the whole thing about nota de corte, which is the threshold, right? The certain, I don't know, again, I'm not sure about, that sounds very global politics, but I'm not sure about the demographics of our audience today. So I'm not sure if you're familiar with the Spanish university system and how to access university, but if you go to a public university, it's a competitive process, literally based on your grade. Do I agree with that? Not really, but it is what it is, right? So it's based on your academic performance. So we recommend, excuse me, we recommend to those students who want to get into, I don't know, for example, medicina, right? They want to go to medicina and La Autónoma, or they want to do, Pompeu Fabra usually has very competitive degrees. So we recommend them to take the extra exams so they can get a better chance of getting in there. But if you're going to a private university, in this case, for example, Claudia ended up, even though, you know, she was pre-selected at the University of Chicago, NYU, but she decided to stay in ESADE. You don't need any other exams, okay? Mm-hmm. Did that make sense, what I said? I'm not sure.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah? Okay.
However, if anyone has any other question, you know that you can contact us and we'll be happy to answer them. Okay, I think all the questions have been answered.
Okay.
Salvador?
Yeah, so I hear I'm gonna do like a YouTuber. If you have any questions, you can send an email to Carme, and she can forward them to me or directly at admissions, and I'll be happy, or we'll be happy to answer the questions. So thank you very much. And hopefully, you know, I'll see you around very soon, either virtually or in person. So have a great evening, everyone. Take care. Bye.